I'd like for you to meet someone who's going to be a new neighbor of ours here in Florida, Mr. Walt Disney.
Now, in reality, Florida's governor wasn't introducing us to Walt. I mean, we all knew Walt. We saw him every Sunday night on The Wonderful World of Disney. No, what the governor was trying to say, and you really can't tell from his face, was something far more exciting. Somebody had purchased a bunch of forest and swamplands in central Florida, and that somebody was the Walt Disney Company, purchasing it to build Walt Disney World. And as kids, we knew exactly what that meant, because Walt had been showing us every Sunday night what Disneyland was like. And I, for one, couldn't have been more excited. Because you see, when I was a kid, my vacations fell into one of three special groups. The one big trip we took when I was 5 years old was to the New York World's Fair in New York City, about 2.5 hours away. Secondly, we might go visit family in Connecticut, Pennsylvania, or one time even Ohio. And the third wasn't even really a vacation. You see, we lived on the Jersey Shore, so we'd go to the Ocean City Beach or Boardwalk, or once a year, we went to the Steel Pier in Atlantic City. So with Disney moving on to the East Coast, I was thrilled that my vacations didn't have to be, well, this. And quite frankly, I had no idea what Walt Disney World was, but I knew that with the Imagineers hard at work, and then being personally supervised by Walt Disney as he decided what would happen inside the Magic Kingdom, I knew what we would have in Florida would be fantastic, and only, well, 1,000 miles from home. You know, as a kid, I knew it was too far to go the 3,000 miles to the West Coast, but I thought everything on the East Coast was real close together. I was wrong. Now, to a lot of folks, it didn't seem like it was that long ago that Walt paced out the property for Disneyland, and now, here he was, coming to Orlando, Florida to a press conference at the Cherry Plaza Hotel. Located on East Central Avenue, the Cherry Plaza Hotel is now the Post Parkside Apartments. And even though the Cherry Plaza had just hosted a president not even a year ago, when Walt Disney arrived, it was the talk of the town. And, as you can see, it's changed quite a bit. Yeah, when Walt walked through those doors into the Cherry Plaza Hotel, he cemented its place in history. But you'd think there'd be a plaque or something there. But let's start with the introductions.
New world of entertainment, pleasure, and economic development to the state of Florida. Walt Disney. Thank you, Governor. May I also introduce on my left the financial genius of Walt Disney Productions, its president, Mr. Roy Disney.
But by this time, Roy Disney was well familiar with Central Florida, having been in and out helping with the real estate transactions with companies like MT Lot, and dealing with people like Earl O. Bronson, who sold Disney 8,000 acres for only $100 an acre, just because he knew that Disney would bring prosperity to Central Florida, just like it did to Anaheim. But Anaheim was also a mistake that Disney did not want to repeat.
This was Anaheim, California 10 years ago. This is Anaheim today, 10 times larger and millions of dollars richer, all because of tourist money generated by a unique recreation industry called Disneyland.
This wasn't a mistake that Disney planned to make again, and this time they wanted assurances. But now, with all the schmoozing and handshaking completed, it was time to move on from the Cherry Plaza to more important stakes: the creation of the Riddy Creek Improvement District. Did you ever notice how it looked like a guy with spiky hair, sunglasses, and a beard? Well, that's not important, but Riddy Creek is, and we got to talk about that next. Because as far as Disney was concerned, without the Riddy Creek Improvement District, Walt Disney World was dead in the water. Disney had purchased over 43 square miles, and they weren't about to let the same problems they had in Anaheim affect them in Central Florida. There were going to need to be a lot of concessions made before Disney ever put the first shovel of dirt behind them. And Disney had learned well from their mistakes in Anaheim. They wanted a way to make sure they had more control than they did before. But before seeing a dream fulfilled, the creative genius behind the whole thing, Walter Elias Disney, died on December 15, 1966. Of course, the dream itself didn't die. There was far too much at stake for that, and both Disney And the state of Florida knew that.
I don't think you mentioned the amount of money at the initial investment. That's a heck of a lot. That would indicate the size of this project.
Well, there was a time in my life I didn't think there was that much money. That doesn't include the other facilities, the hotels and the things around it. Now, when you begin to put all those together, it's going to be well over 100 million plus. But my big brother says we can do it. He's the money man.
Once again, if the vision that was shared at the press conference was going to come to life, it was going to be up to Roy. Now was the time for Disney to go all out and try and get all of the state legislature behind them for the creation of the Reedy Creek Improvement District. This was very important, so as a venue, they chose the LA Fitness in Winter Park. Okay, so it wasn't LA Fitness at the time, but you can tell by looking at it, it used to be a movie theater. And that was the Park Duplex, a twin screen. I've even seen reports that Disney actually built this theater. And it was here that Disney would present their case to the state. So now with the governor and all the state legislators from Central Florida, VIPs from all around and the press with all their cards on the table, Disney knew, well, there was only one person who could really pull off the press conference in the way it needed to be pulled off.
Yesterday, Disneyland and the New York World's Fair. Tomorrow, a project so vast, it has already been called a whole new Disney World. And now, here is Walt Disney.
That's right, Walt himself, who appeared in his last film ever. Press conference seemed to go okay, but I think first we need to talk about why the press conference was necessary. Why the Reedy Creek Improvement District? I mean, Disney bought 30,000 acres because they wanted the ability to control what happened around the theme parks. They weren't about to have another Harbor Boulevard on their hands on the East Coast. First up was energy services. Disney wanted complete control of how they got their power and where they got their power from. This gave them the possibility of, yes, putting in solar panels, but they also had authority to build their own nuclear power plant. Disney also wanted their own fire service because not only would it assist with insurance costs, but this way Disney's calls were prioritized above every other call in the area. And this led to the creation of the Reedy Creek Emergency Services, my heroes at Disney. Ironically, the creation of emergency services did not include the Disney-approved police department that they were authorized to have. Instead, they decided they'd contract with the Orange County Sheriff's Office, who could provide them with a great many more assets. I mean, could you imagine sworn law enforcement officers having to do bag check at the front gate? And a Disney police department, what would that even look like? Basically, Disney wasn't real thrilled with the public disclosure laws in Florida and wanted to handle things in-house. Zoning was another issue that Disney didn't want to leave in the hands of the county, but rather wanted to do in-house also. The biggest thing Disney wanted control over was building codes, and they created the Epcot building code system. And believe it or not, the Epcot building codes are way stricter than most others in the county. Disney basically wanted everything seamlessly integrated into their way of doing things. And, strangely enough, well, they succeeded. And apparently, Disney got everything it wanted. Because on May 12th, 1967, after meeting with the new governor, Claude Kirk, Roy Disney made a brief speech, and then the bill was signed into law, creating the Reedy Creek Improvement District. And now the construction of Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom could begin. But how do you keep the public excited until it's ready to go? Well, that was the job of the Preview Center, located on Hotel Plaza Boulevard. And that building is still there, although now it's headquarters to the Amateur Athletic Union. At that time, you could meet with a hostess who would explain what was going to be happening in the Magic Kingdom as soon as it was built. The Preview Center itself was only open for a year from 1970 to 1971, but it did its job well, keeping the focus of the American public on the upcoming Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom. Looks like Emmy's sleeping, dreaming of your likes and comments. I hope you enjoyed this video too, and that you'll let me know in the comments below. And don't forget, if you liked it, leave a thumbs up. And you also might choose to subscribe to the channel. And remember, when you do subscribe, don't forget to click on that bell. That way you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.